Straight ahead on Channel 6 News, a local gas company is going door to door checking for possible gas leaks.
I'm Amy Polacko in Arbor Hill. Albany police are scrambling to solve their second murder of the year. This time, the victim was a teenage boy. We'll have more coming up.
Some thunderstorms this morning giving us hail and wind damage. We'll take a look at damage reports coming up. Channel 6 News at 11 starts right now.
Channel 6 News is everywhere. Live, the most watched news station in the capital region. This is Channel 6 News at 11.
Good evening. We have breaking news out of Albany tonight. Police tell us there has been another shooting, this one near 3rd Avenue and Elizabeth Street. At this point, police believe one woman was shot in the head and another man shot several times in some sort of gun battle. No word yet on their conditions. Police are looking into whether there's a connection between that and a fatal shooting earlier this afternoon on Colony Street. And Albany say that shooting was a drive-by shooting. 17-year-old Broderick Green was shot and killed this afternoon on Colony Street. And as the police work on their second homicide in less than a week, tension is building in an already troubled neighborhood. Amy Polacko has that story.
Colony Market's owner turned his grief into anger toward police today after somebody gunned down one of his regular customers right outside.
The little boy who got shot, he came bought a soda for me. And I know him.
A few minutes later,
I heard the gunshot outside. Then I lay under the counter.
And when Abdallah went outside, he found the boy people here call Junior, shot in the back in this alley.
I can't see it. I don't know what the blood. There's blood all over his name.
Police say it looks like this was a drive-by shooting. They found 2 shell casings down the street and still don't know how the boy wound up here in the alley. Police do know this corner's been getting worse and say it's the new center of Arbor Hill's drug trade now that the city cleaned up Swan Street. Back in November, we caught drug deals going down in the same spot. And the store owner says it's true.
Yeah, we were from here in the street here to buy drugs. And nobody be clean up the area. Why?
Residents say no one person can clean up this place, but city leaders could get a better idea of what they're up against if they saw it.
Those who are running for politics, walk the streets. Start walking the streets. Not for what you call primary day, not for election day, but start walking the streets.
Amy Polacko, Channel 6 News.
Important information tonight for customers of Berkshire Gas. The company is going around the clock to check homes for possible natural gas leaks. Heavy rains caused changes in natural gas pressure, which means some gas could have escaped. The system is running normally now and there's no cause for alarm, but as a precaution, Berkshire Gas is going door to door for the next 48 hours to check each customer. If you're a Berkshire Gas customer and have any problems or smell gas, you can call the company at 1-800-292-5012. Well, the rains we saw today were accompanied by wild winds that made their way through parts of the capital region and left their mark on one Columbia County town.
You can see the mess we got here. It just splintered and shredded everything.
Strong gusts leveled this shed on Lasher Road in the hamlet of Nevis. What was unusual about the storm is the way the wind tore up certain spots and passed over others.
It's incredible how it can jump like that. That much force to shred a building like this and then jump over another building and then go on and knock down trees on the other side.
Mr. Salpa says parts of his shed were tossed more than 500 feet over a house and on a car. Well, right now the rains are taking a breather, but only for a little while. Here's Garrett Argianas with Monday's Outlook. Garrett?
Thanks, Marie Beth. Good evening. Well, we won't say rains, we'll say some showers ahead for the day tomorrow. But first, let's take a look at some storm damage reports from the storms that went through this morning. Claremont, the video that we just saw with wind damage being reported, of course, with that shed being blown over, some damage to trees as well. And Rensselaer County at Skodak Center, also at Sand Lake, with reports of trees and wires down. And a report out of Greenwich in Washington County, also of trees being uprooted there. Also a report of hail, 1 3/4 inch hail in Ulster County. So some pretty nasty storms this morning, although just affecting, I'd say not everybody in the severe variety, but thunderstorms for everybody this morning. Things are quite a bit quieter, though, now on the radar, just a few scattered showers. out to the west, so maybe a scattered shower passing through tonight. We'll keep the chance of scattered showers in the forecast once again for tomorrow, but I think much of the day will be dry for most of us, maybe just a sprinkle around during the day for anybody here possibly in the region. Temperatures starting out 58 in the morning, 64 at lunchtime, 65 degrees at 6 o'clock. I'll have a look at your work week forecast coming up in just a little bit. Mary Beth.
All right, thank you, Garrett. The city of Pittsfield may have to shut down one of its fire stations altogether and close another during the summer months. The city is facing an $8 million deficit and is looking for ways to tighten the belt, so they ordered the fire chief to cut $300,000 from the budget. The chief says the only way he can do that is to eliminate 10 positions, which could mean slower response times to emergencies. Pittsfield Mayor Gerald Doyle will meet with the chief Wednesday to discuss the plan. Well, can you imagine getting pulled over for eating while driving? That and other activities like putting on makeup and adjusting the stereo are coming under increased scrutiny. Some recent studies show that these distractions are much more dangerous than talking on your cell phone. Advocates say cell phone users are not the worst offenders in traffic accidents.
Channel 6 News is everywhere. Coming up next.
The acting king of Nepal now says the multiple shooting that took the lives of 8 members of the royal family was an accident. And the results of an autopsy are in on the woman found dead on a roller coaster. We'll have the full story.
This segment of Channel 6 News is sponsored by Today's Limousine.
Senator John McCain says he's not leaving the Republican Party, but political observers wonder why he's having meetings with top Democrats. Eric Engberg picks up the story.
The political atmosphere in Washington is now so unstable that when this man, the new majority leader of the Senate, Tom Daschle, spends the weekend with this man, Republican maverick and George Bush nemesis John McCain, no one believes it is a simple social call. In the aftermath of the Jeffords thunderbolt, which turned the Senate over to the Democrats, the McCain-Daschle summit had enough of a feel of another shoe dropping that the Washington Post saw it as the start to a McCain third-party movement. McCain attempted to cool the speculation with a statement that said, "I have no intention of running for president, nor do I have any intention of or cause to leave the Republican Party." But the talk of a split is being actively fueled by some McCain allies and is not likely to dissipate. There's a history of bitterness. McCain complained during the nasty South Carolina primary last year that Bush forces were smearing him in semi-anonymous phone calls.
He comes from a better family. He knows better than this, and he should stop it.
The feud has continued between McCain and Bush staffers, with charges of backstabbing and claims denied by the White House that McCain contributors are being red flagged when applying for political jobs. What all the talk about McCain bolting the party has done is gotten the White House's attention and strengthened McCain's hand on issues he's pushing, like campaign finance reform, which may have been exactly what McCain's allies have in mind. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Washington.
The Crown Prince of Nepal has died from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. Crown Prince Dipendra is believed to have shot his parents, the King and Queen, and 6 other members of the royal family, then himself, after an argument over his choice of a bride. But his uncle, who is now acting king, says the prince wasn't trying to hurt anyone and that the automatic weapon went off accidentally. A woman was found unconscious after riding a new roller coaster in Valencia, California, and later died. An autopsy found the 28-year-old woman died of an aneurysm. She was found slumped over her seat when the Six Flags ride Goliath stopped. It's unclear if she died of a pre-existing condition or of whiplash. The new Goliath runs at speeds of 85 miles per hour. Thousands of believers paid their respects to the man known as the Good Pope today. The body of Pope John the 23rd was escorted through St. Peter's Square in a bronze and crystal casket. The Pope died 38 years ago. The body was put on display at the main altar for the public until nightfall. The half-ton shatterproof coffin was then laid to rest in a new resting place more accessible to visitors. The actor who made Zorba the Greek an unforgettable character has died. Academy Award winner Anthony Quinn died in Boston today of respiratory failure. Quinn's best-known pictures were Zorba and Lawrence of Arabia. Quinn was 86 years old. Returning to weather, we're getting a little bit tired of this constant rain. Any drier days ahead, Garrett?
Well, Mary Beth, we'll say mostly dry days. Just
okay.
A few in the forecast coming up, which I'll have for you right after the break as Channel 6 News at 11 continues.
your instant Doppler 6 forecast.
Welcome back. Well, we're looking at a pretty nice rainbow this morning, captured in half moon. Nice rainbow in the pink sky in the background. One of the advantages of all of the wet weather that we had through the day today. And looking ahead to the forecast for tomorrow, looks like we will see that chance of a sprinkle tomorrow, but I think much of us will be dry for most of the day. So we'll say mixed sun and clouds for tomorrow. 58 when you wake up in the morning, 68 degrees at in the afternoon, your daytime high. Again, with that chance of a sprinkle during the day. Looking back at today, made it to a high of 66 degrees, the low is 58. We picked up about half an inch of rain, so we're right about close to normal now for the yearly total at Albany. Looking at the clouds and the satellite this evening, we see lots in the way of cloudiness around, so mostly cloudy skies overnight tonight. You see this big spin right over in the Great Lakes region. This is the upper level low pressure system, which has been with us for the past couple of days. This is finally expected to push to the east, so it'll be with us for one more day tomorrow, giving us a rather unsettled day again with clouds around. Some breaks of sunshine, though, as well, so not a bad day, but again, we keep that chance of sprinkles in the forecast ahead for tomorrow. Big look at the radar shows some sprinkles around tonight as well. Nothing really too heavy, though, in the rain department for this evening or overnight tonight. Just a few scattered sprinkles out to the west that we will watch come through. So things turning drier than they have been, certainly, after a pretty wet morning with thunderstorms coming through with some wind damage that we talked about earlier, also some hail reported around the area. At the top of the hour at the airport, 58 degrees, the dew point 52. So the air becoming drier and cooler since earlier today. Winds now out of the west at 7, and the pressure is on the rise, which is certainly good news. 58, as I mentioned, at Albany, 57 in Glens Falls. Cooler, though, out to the west. Some cooler air coming in behind the cold front, which came through today. So temperatures will drop to about 53 or so tonight, and things will be a little bit below normal once again tomorrow, as temperatures will only make it once again into the upper 60s. Look at the big picture, shows that front offshore now. So this is what gave us the storms this morning. Behind it, still that flow out of the north and west, giving us the chance of some showers. But high pressure will be building in for the day on Tuesday, giving us one dry day before another weather system approaches for late in the day on Wednesday into the day on Thursday, which could give us another significant rain event. So our map for tomorrow shows this weather system up to our north, the heavier rain up to the north, so we just expect this chance of some sprinkles tomorrow with mixed sun. And this thing really won't move much during the day, so the forecast will stay rather similar for much of the day with that chance of sprinkles. But again, I think a dry day for much of us and for most of the day with just, again, a few clouds around with the sunshine for tomorrow. And looking ahead to Tuesday, looks like a dry day on tap and a little bit more in the way of sunshine. Temperatures making it into the lower 70s, so that certainly will feel nice. But then this will approach as we head late into the day on Wednesday and also for Thursday, giving us the chance of picking up some more in the way of rainfall. Unfortunately, the unsettled weather pattern continuing. Mostly cloudy tonight, some scattered showers, but of the light variety, 53. For tomorrow, mixed clouds and sunshine, again some scattered showers, but very not widespread at all, very isolated, 68 degrees. For tomorrow night, we finally dry things out, down to about 50, and now a check of the 6-day forecast shows an unsettled weather pattern continuing with a chance of some storms and showers late on Wednesday. Then the possibility of picking up another significant rainfall on Thursday. We'll keep our eyes on that one. And then it looks like we will dry things out as we head towards next weekend.
And have hopes for the weekend, fingers crossed.
That's right, Mary Beth.
Thank you, Garrett. Coming up next, the Adirondack trying to beat the rain and the Ambassadors. That's coming up. Also, who wants a trip to L.A.? We'll find out which Eastern Conference team will move on to face the Lakers. It's all next in sports with Tim Mack.
Welcome back. The right to be run over by the L.A. Lakers. Seems like a strange thing to be fighting for, but both the Sixers and the Bucks knocking themselves out to get a shot at Kobe and Shaq. And after tonight's Game 7, Los Angeles would know who they get for the NBA Finals. Milwaukee, they looked pretty sharp early on. Ray Allen defeating Glenn Robinson for the breakaway dunk, 2 of Robinson's 24 points. But the Bucks' hopes for a victory fell to the ground just about the same time Ray Allen did. The Milwaukee star banged knees with the Sixers' Eric Snow in the third. That sent him to the floor and then on to the locker room. He'd return in the fourth. But that quarter already belonged to Allen Iverson. He had 26 of his 44 points in the final stanza and put the Bucks away for good, giving Philadelphia its first trip to the finals in 18 years. Bring on the Lakers. Now, sure, there are only 3 teams in the Northern League's North Division in their Eastern Conference, but hey, first place is first place. And that's where the Adirondack Lumberjacks were as they began today's game against Allentown in Glens Falls. The game was delayed by an hour due to some rainy weather there, but eventually baseball was played. The Jacks starting pitcher Chad Ward looked pretty sharp, at least through the first few innings. The Fort Edward native got to sit Keith Maxwell down in the second with a K there. Ward had 4 strikeouts on the day. Then it looked like they got all the offense they needed from Bob Spangler, the rookie from Pennsylvania, found one out over the plate in third, sent it out to the bleachers, giving the Jacks a 1-0 lead. But as it turned out, Allentown had the bats that were just a little too big. The Jacks let this one slip away late. The 4-1 loss ends the Lumberjacks' season record to 6-5. The Diamond Dogs were on the road today and took a game in Elmira, blanking the Pioneers 5-0. To the big leagues now, the New York Mets going for a season first today against the Marlins, their first 3-game road winning streak of the year. Sending hired gun Kevin Apier to the mound today to take on Florida's A.J. Burnett. And the man who threw a no-hitter earlier this season was on his game. He gave up just 2 hits and had 5 strikeouts, including the K of Darren Bragg in the second. Apier was also sharp himself. He also surrendered a mere 2 hits and struck out 8 on the afternoon. That pitching kept things scoreless until the 9th when Met killer Preston Wilson came to the plate. And the former Mets infield single off the pitcher's mound brought Luis Castillo home to score the game's only run and give the Marlins the win. Unfortunately, it was Pittsfield's Kirk Wendell who takes the loss for New York. Today's Astros game didn't end the way Albany's Glenn Barker was hoping it would. The former St. Rose star as a pinch runner, he gets doubled off second in the 10th thanks to the Craig Biggio fly out, ending the game, giving the visiting Dodgers the win in Houston. Octavio Dotel taking the loss for Houston in that one, but some good news for the Mets. They don't lose any more ground to the Phillies, who lost to the Expos. Also in the NL East today, the Braves swept a pair from the Pirates in Pittsburgh. Other winners tonight on the out-of-town scoreboard include the Brewers and the Rockies, and the D-backs double up the Padres in Phoenix. Cleveland's Charles Nagy got his first start of the year this afternoon against New York at the stadium, and he had a 1-0 lead in the 4th until Derek Jeter took him out of the yard to tie everything up. But Nagy wouldn't surrender any more than that. He allowed just the 1 run on 4 hits, had 1 strikeout against Paul O'Neill in the 7th. The Yankees would eventually manage to threaten late, but they just couldn't close the gap as they lose this one by 1 run to Cleveland. 2 things to show you from today's game between the Red Sox and Blue Jays up north. First, a solo home run by Manny Ramirez in the 4th. It traveled 491 feet all the way to the 500 level on the tarp-covered seats. That is a new Sky Dome record. A footnote gave the Toronto a 2-0 lead. The other highlight to show you in the 7th, tied at 4, Shea Hildebrand sending the sac fly into center. It's good enough to bring the run home and give Boston the lead as the Red Sox go on to win. That makes it 5 straight wins for Boston. Also today, Chicago got past Detroit in 1 extra inning. Minnesota was twice as good as the Rangers. Anaheim's single touchdown enough to beat the safety scored by the Royals. Also today, the Athletics and the Mariners were winners. Seattle off to the best start in baseball since the 1953 Yankees. The field at this year's Memorial Golf Tournament in Dublin, Ohio began the day with something every competitor needs: hope. Hope that one of them could unseat 2-time defending champ Tiger Woods, who started the final day of golf trailing Paul Azinger.
Shakes his head.
But that didn't last long, not when you're shooting like Tiger did. Woods went for a 6-under par, 66 over the last 18. That was good for 17-under par for the tourney, becoming the first player since Tom Watson in '80 to win the same tournament 3 years in a row. To women's golf now in Saratoga's Dottie Peppers saw her name well down the leaderboard as the field teed off at the U.S. Open today, but a crowded field meant she still had a chance to catch the leader, Kari Webb. Or at least that's how it looked on paper. As it turned out, nobody would catch Webb. A birdie putt on 18 put her 7 under, making her the runaway winner in Southern Pines. Pepper finished third at +2 for the tourney. Oh, so nice we had to hear it thrice. The kickoff to the Dover NBA Platinum 400 in Delaware. One man who had it all together today, Jeff Gordon, who managed to avoid this terrible wreck, which was on the 3rd lap. These guys don't waste any time when they're crashing into the walls here. Right from the get-go, they're going to get out of the race. Eventually, Gordon managed to navigate himself past all that for his 2nd victory of the year and 54th overall. Steve Park 2nd. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was 3rd.
Lookity, lookity, lookity.
Lookity, isn't that something? Very nice.
Thanks, Jim. Up next on Channel 6 News. Now that's using your noodle, and Elmira restaurant celebrates with a pasta palooza. Finally tonight, how do you celebrate 50 years in business? Well, making a noodle that's longer than a football field. What's believed to be the world's longest noodle, stretching 18 feet long, was made at Sorge's restaurant in Elmira. They said that feat didn't happen overnight. They practiced with a 90-foot noodle last week, and they say this is a great experience, and they're thrilled to pieces. So a lot of good publicity for them. Just want to mention quickly that the producers swept the Tonys with a record tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow.